Power plays Palace. Let's get it started, people. All right. So yesterday we were looking for some moves up, possibly maybe some push downs. Spot was doing some things in pre-market. So what we have today is yesterday we was looking for a breakout long above 753.56 with an entry around 753.70 to 754.50 with our stop below 751.80. Targets being 756, 758.80, and 762. Now, we had a rejection, we was looking for a rejection short near what's that? 753.20. And if we got that rejection short around 753.20 to 753.56, and that's really where the area where the high was pre-market. Then we're looking for entry around 753.20 to 754, and then with our stop above 755.50. Now the targets for that will be 751.80, 751.16, and 749.80. So let's look at the chart from yesterday and see what happened with the spot. Ooh, interesting. All right. So what we saw yesterday is during the pre-market, spot continued to push up. Got to 753.80 in the pre-market. Then it started to pull back. You see this first candle, then you see the second candle, then you see the pull, engulfing candle, and it started to push down. So by the time the market opened, spot opened at 750.91. Just a little bit below our targets for entry, but if we were playing it, in the pre-market and looking at it, then we would have kind of seen it reject off that level and then push back. But after that, we got a push down to 749.23 with a push up to 751.28, and we came back down to 748.38 with a push up from there. Okay, and on the push up from there, we got back to 750, but then we came back to 748. Now, that was about 1 o'clock. After that, spot started to push his way back up and eventually ended back up at 751, and before it ended up closing the day at 750.51. Now, overnight, you see it push back up close to the 752 area. It briefly crossed it and pulled back down. And then this morning when it opened up in the pre-market, it opened up at 749.97. So still in that same general area. And then it started to work its way down to 748.20, which is a play off of the low of the day from yesterday. And it's been working its way back up. So right now it's about 838, and you see it's pushing its way back up. And right now we are back at the pre-market high that I set this morning. So we had some pretty decent movement. That's a $2 move. So we'll see what happens from there. So let's look at the chart from yesterday again. So if you was on the chart yesterday, you could have played, even when it opened, it pushed up a little bit. You could have played it all the way down to the 748 area. Not open, like I said, at the 750 area. So it pushed lower from there, but it still pushed down to the 748 area. We didn't get the push up, but we did get the push down. And so let's look at our chart for the day. Now, as I showed you earlier, SPY was at this 753 area. Hold on a second. This 750 area, pre-market, right? But now, and it pushed down. So we started out below the high of the day from yesterday, but above the low of the day from yesterday. So we were somewhere in between that. And then, we already got a push down below lower today from yesterday, so that leaves us in a position where, depending on what happened, because sometimes it bounced off those key areas. It could be pushing up as we just saw on the pre-market chart. So today, if SPY can reclaim the pre-market high and break through, we'll set our stop entry at 750.20, 750.90. With our stop below 748.80, targets will be 751.37, 753.20, and 755.50. But if we get a good rejection, we get a good rejection there, we could end up in a position where the 749.80, 750.40 area will be the area where we'll be looking for entry. Looking at the chart so far with the pre-market right now, and it's being back up to test that pre-market high already after establishing that low. That's a pretty good range. So we could see that happen. But if that happens, we'll set our stop above 751.80, with our targets being 748.80, 748.20, 746.80. And I also want to show you something else while we looking at that. I also want us not to forget about this gap down to 743, because we still got this gap and we've been flirting with this area. My thing is, if we reject hard here and push down, I think that's the area we could be headed to, because it don't touch this gap a couple times and it didn't get pushed it back down because it has some strong resistance here, because this was also the high of the day. That previous day before that gap up. The same day that it gapped up, last on the 22nd, when it gapped up, that pre-market, the day before that, it had went all the way down, that whole day, but then it gapped up. It's been floating around in this area, really consolidating, building some long-term liquidity. But my fear is, not even a fear, but if it gets down here and it breaks here and holds, that it's probably going to head back into these areas. So, but that's just a theory based off of possibilities. But as of right now, this is where we currently are. As you can see, it tapped the pre-market high again, went a little bit above it, but then it's starting to pull back again. So it could be in for an interesting day, man. But let's trust what we see on the charts. Let me put this up here and see what it look like. Okay, now looking at my VWAP, at my 9 and my 21, it looked like we could be in a situation where this could come back down and retest this 9 and then push up from there too. So, because we are above the VWAP, so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right, but that's our trade plan for the day. Be disciplined. Do not do anything out of the ordinary. And if you don't like the trade, get out. Stay away from it. And I look forward to seeing what happens today. Tomorrow, then we'll be back tomorrow to go over everything. Remember, this is not financial news, not financial information, and not financial advice. This is just some ideas from a guy who trades. And so I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, see how everybody turned out. But let's do it, man. If you anything you like about the video, like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, we'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one, man. Power Plays Palace.